All right, now for private pilots, maintaining currency and recency experience requirements is a little more robust. You got to make sure that you're staying regulatory and safe within the parameters that the FAA has established. And it's called recency in flight experience. You have to have a certain amount of flying time before you fly passengers, before you're the pilot in command, in order to make sure that you're safe.
Yeah, so it's all about the time that you spend as the sole manipulator of that airplane and the controls. So when you're talking about day flights with passengers, how do you remain current?
You gotta log currency 3 takeoff and landings within 90 days. Now, these landings can be to touch and goes if they're daytime or on a tricycle wheel, but at night they need to be to a full stop or if it's a tail wheel aircraft.
Okay, so now what happens if I do mine at night? I'm good for night.
Yep.
But am I good for the day too?
Night counts for both.
Okay.
Yep, so you can knock 2 birds with 1 stone at night, or daytime, you can do daytime, and then later on do your nighttime.
But that won't count for night. Daytime don't work for night because they want you to stop and and come back. Okay, that makes all sense. Okay, so now you're talking about your flight review. When you do that, as long as you continue to add certifications to your basket, if you will, then you don't have to get that. But when you run out of things to go get, all of a sudden now the clock's ticking and you've got to do this every other year. And it basically boils down to at least a 50-minute ground, or at least a 1-hour ground.
1 hour ground.
And at least
1 hour flight.
Coming, I forgot. For some reason, I had 50 minutes in my head, so it's 1 hour. You're right, but then those are minimums.
Yep, those are minimums. So it'll go through, and the examiner that you're with, or the instructor, I should say, the flight instructor that you do this flight review with, he's going to go through and make sure that you are that you're current and you're showing proficiency and knowledge in the areas. If you haven't flown in 10 years, that ground is going to be more than an hour.
Yeah, the take-home message there is when you're learning the stuff that we're talking about in each of these videos, you got to really get it in there so it doesn't go anywhere, because they're going to call you. They're going to call upon that knowledge every couple of years.
Yep, and you'll see the flight review in part 6156. And along with all of this, you need to make sure that you are doing proper logbook keeping. Yeah. Now, this is all going to be found in 6151. The importance of logbook keeping is you got to do accurate entries. You got to make sure that you're logging all of this as far as 6156 and 57 goes, which is the items we just covered. You got to log all that, the date, the time that it took, the plane that you were in, and the items that were covered.
And now the paper logbooks that we may have all used back in the day, they work, get to write all that down, but when you go to the digital logbook, what happens is this stuff's much easier to keep up with, and you can also take a photo that you took maybe and you put it right in there, so it helps attach all that stuff together in your brain so you know where it's at.
Yeah, I still got to move over to a digital logbook. I think that'd be real good.
Yeah, you should try to get rid of your flip phone too. All kind of fun stuff could be waiting for you in the future.